welcome to the Special Moves podcast. This is episode 97. My name is Mike Williams. These guys are Jake Klukowski and Liam McKelvey Jr. I don't know if you noticed yet, but I always like touch my nose in the intro for some reason. I watched the last one. And I thought I've got ticks. I got like poker ticks. Do you know what I mean? I've got like so I'd be a shit poker player.
I would just say it's a routine.
Yeah, it's like that episode of classic sitcom Malcolm in the Middle where Hal is bowling. He's bowling strikes, and every time he changes the routine, he's got to make sure he keeps doing it. So he has a little sip of water. So he's like,
the ritual is complete.
Make sure he has the sip of water every time. So that's my success ritual to make sure the podcast is great. Jake was up till about 6 a.m. or something. So
I was up till 3 a.m.
Yeah,
which for me is late, isn't it?
It is late. Liam has been working every single day of the week, so
That's
busy
true.
week, and I haven't done anything except.
We're getting all the excuses in.
No, I'm just running through. Like usually I'm like, I give you a little overview if it's been busy or not or whatever. But we have been busy, but not in the gaming sense. But there has been a lot happening. A lot of big console stuff, as is
as we just said before we started recording, it's actually because we were a little bit late recording, and the last podcast it's not been like a full week. It feels like it's only been a couple of days.
Well, we've been off routine, haven't we? We've been off routine for like about a month, really, haven't we? Just kind of recording on evenings and in midweek and stuff like that.
Whenever we can,
Yeah, but we're back. This is a Sunday morning recording now again. We've got a packed Patreon bonus podcast to come as well. If you support us on Patreon, that's going to be like a Q&A special, which we haven't really done before. No. We've had lots of good questions for that. So if you're a patron, make sure you check that out. Thanks everyone who did ask a question as well. So let's jump into it. And I guess it's been the Xbox PlayStation Shadow War, as I saw it described by one website, is hotting up.
Amazing.
Xbox are having I can't tell if everything is going to plan for them, and this is great, or if it's like, because everyone is talking about them. Everyone's talking about Xbox, and everyone's kind of excited about the devices and the Xbox One. No, fucking hell, that's going to happen a lot. The Xbox Series S looks great, I think, as a value kind of console and stuff, and there's a lot to get excited about. But what do you guys think? Like, is it happening on their terms, or is it because there's just been another huge leak this week of the whole, the whole conference, the whole showcase they were going to do?
It's not. It's definitely not. It's definitely not. But it's probably stuff that's only leaked like 2 days in advance. That's the thing, right? It's like the whole thing's been blown wide open like 4 weeks before. This is probably due out sometime like last week anyway. But yeah, like you're right, there's been some things that leaked online. So what Mike's on about, in case you guys don't know, is that like not the pictures and the like advert showing off the consoles, but there was like a lot of it was like a big preamble show. It was like Phil Spencer talking about the history of the Xbox, and then talking to like the development heads and talking to all the people who were responsible for picking the CPU that goes in it and stuff like that. It was like a very like and when I say Xbox focused, I mean the thing itself, focused show, and that whole thing leaked online, and I suspect that maybe that was going to be part of some bigger announcement, that it was going to be this boring. Well, not boring, but boring for me, sorry. But like a tech talk thing, then they were going to show the price, which is like when PlayStation did that boring thing about ears and then didn't show anything.
Yeah.
So maybe it was that. Maybe it was like that, and then they realized that most people didn't give a shit about that, and then that's just been sat there somewhere, and that's leaked. But the Series S, I always remember back in the day on Pretty Good Gaming making the joke of the amount of mums and like elderly relatives who are going to get the Xbox One S and X confused. And now it's going to be the same, but with the Series. So imagine asking for an Xbox Series X and getting an Xbox One S. instead. You can see how it would happen.
It isn't. Yeah, the naming convention is rough. I think it's like it's closer to being like a fucking PC like component than a product. Where where there's really like there's one word or one letter or one something different that makes it apart aside from the simplicity of like just an Xbox 2 or whatever, you just would know and that you understand then that's what it is. It's the next one, it's the new one. But
exactly.
Yeah,
it's an easy concept.
The naming isn't great, I don't think.
But I mean, I think the Series S, I think we already touched on this on the last podcast, but like that came out at a really low price point. I think it's like the cheapest console on launch since like the GameCube. And it's like fantastic value. I think it's really cool. Obviously, the way that they will get you. The way that they'll get you sounds like they're super like pit of vipers, but do you know what I mean? Like the way that they will get their money back is, of course, that there's no disc tray. You'll be stuck on the Microsoft Store. And when it comes to things like that, there's like a recent thing. I wanted to play Sekiro again on Xbox because I wanted to get the trophies or whatever they're called, achievements, whatever. I went to buy it. I thought, it came out like 18 months ago. It's £60, like 60. I got it on day one for 38. So like stuff like that, there's those certain games, isn't there, that just never seem to drop in price. Like I think Borderlands 3 is another one where it's like still super expensive, but like it'll be stuff like that where even if you're like watching a podcast and you hear a recommendation of an older game, like I don't know, Sekiro is getting on a bit, it's 60 quid. It's like that happening 10 times is their money recouped.
Totally. And but even when you like look at like retro stuff and things, and if you want to get, I say retro, but if you want to get an original Xbox title, or you want to play something from the like Dead Space or something like that, you can get that in a secondhand shop for like £1.50, literally about £1.50. But if you want to buy that on the store, I don't know if it's there or not, but it is probably going to be closer to, it's not much money, but it's like 12 or 14, 15, 18 quid or something like that. And it's like, that's a big, that's a big price difference because now the disc option just isn't there for you. But I think, we are getting further away from that. And that's mainly because of the subscription services, isn't it? It's because of Game Pass and because of the EA. It's now part of the Xbox
exactly. Game Pass. I guess it's more of a passive pick, as I call them. I just don't know what the right word is for it. But it's like people with Netflix. Like you'll watch any old shit on Netflix because Netflix feeds it to you. It's like what the radio does. Loads of people who listen to pop music will just listen to whatever the radio tells them is good. So it's become like that where Xbox is becoming curatorial because people will play whatever's on the Game Pass because they don't have to pay extra for it when the extra can be quite a lot. So like that's become the thing now, which is something that like every other form of media has, like it's kind of happens in waves, doesn't it? So like that happened with music for a lot where everyone was telling you what was cool, but now then things with like Spotify and all these exploration tools, but with gaming it's still pretty much led by human recommendations because like you can't trust the Steam front page, for example, to recommend some good shit. So and of course the PlayStation Store is just whichever company has struck a deal with them to get on there. It's like advertising space. It's not. It's crazy
how often and Fortnite is on there all the time. Fortnite is always like if you go on featured or whatever, it's so frequently just a big fucking Fortnite splash with a new character or something. Which who gives a fuck about that? Like, I mean, a lot of millions of people actually, but it's not a new thing. It's not a game recommendation. It's not recommending Fortnite to people. It's just giving you this sense that like everyone is playing Fortnite. If, as you say, Jake, you're like a more of a casual kind of person and you just picked up the console and you'll see this big Fortnite thing and go, I'll try that out. And there you go. It's a difficult time at the moment, like being between announcements as well, because like we don't know what Sony is bringing to the table yet, and there is going to be a conference on Wednesday
Wednesday. Yeah. It's like 9 o'clock at night our time.
Yeah, which is great. Thanks for that. But it's
not. Yeah, but isn't it the case that normally the later in the day our time the announcement, the bigger it is? Have you noticed that? It's a reasonable time for Californians.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Sony stuff is always like really late for us. Like I remember E3 last year, Microsoft is always like 5 p.m. on the dots, like just as everyone's getting home in the UK. But then Sony's on at like 3 a.m. for their E3 conference because it's like mid-afternoon for Americans. And I mean, Sony are based out of California now, so I guess it makes sense to them. But
Nintendo are pretty good as well. Nintendo are pretty good with their Switch Direct, so they have been doing it at like 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, or it's like a nice. Is that?
It's probably like they're very Japan focused, right? So it must be like a good time in Japan. I don't know Japanese time zones, but I think 4 o'clock is like a good evening time, isn't it? Like 7 p.m. or something like that. Right. But I'm pretty sure it's like that.
Nintendo, they produce separate directs for different regions. Because when they did their last like partner showcase, whatever it was, in the Japan one, there was games announced in the Japanese one that we didn't see in the like English American one. Cool. So I think they just do it.
That's how they get it so right.
Yeah, they specifically tailor it to each region.
So the PlayStation 5 showcase or whatever that they've announced has specifically mentioned it's going to be focusing on some more games for the PS5.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, it hasn't actually outright said yet launch date, price.
Yeah.
It's going to be. Yeah, it is going to be in this, isn't it?
It has to be at this point.
Because if it's not, what the fuck?
I think Xbox pre-orders are the 22nd. Is that right? Like about the 20-something, isn't it? I think you can pre-order an Xbox from then.
Yeah, it's like pre-orders open 22nd and release date is November 10th, I think, for the Series S and the Series X. And then...
Do you think Sony are going to just come in and say, you can pre-order right now, just so they can get the pre-orders? Because we now know this is the shadow war that everyone's fucking talking about. But it's I
don't know about everyone.
Like if you if you were like a suit, you know that like on the 22nd, this is when our competitors launch their console, and families are probably only going to be buying 1 or 2. So the smart thing would be, wouldn't it, to put out your announcement, launch it when hype is at its maximum, and you're worried about it selling out. Drop the pre-order at the conference, like right after, 1 per household, and I reckon it'll clean up basically.
I think Sony have already said though they're going to give people a heads up before pre-orders go live. So unless this counts as a heads up, like conference is happening Wednesday, but they're not actually saying pre-orders are going to go live. Who knows? But I remember they said in this one that they're only going to be focusing on games, didn't they? But then they said in the last one, we're only showing PS5 games, and they did the big bombshell drop at the end, revealing the console itself and the digital one.
Right, yeah.
I think that's what I call a good lie. You know, that like I'm okay with that. Like I remember a couple of years ago, there was a big thing about that in gaming journalism. Developers and publishers do this a lot. They lie to people. They say it's only games, and that means it should only be games. But then when there's a console reveal, that's a lie. But I think that's like a good thing, really, because it's like a surprise. But it's like saying if I threw a surprise party for Mike, can you imagine, first of all? And then I told Mike, we're just going to McDonald's, and then it's like that, isn't it? So I just what I mean is though, do you think that there is anything bad by saying that and then dropping it, and then imagine if they did release pre-orders and people missed out?
I don't think there's anything like bad about them saying it's just games and then they come out and say here's the price and release date or whatever. I don't think that's bad because that keeps some of the excitement for it. I would say it's bad if they did say pre-orders live now, because there's a lot of people out there, who've have to like really budget at the minute as people who've lost their jobs and can't really afford to splash out on a luxury like a brand new console. So at least if you give them a heads up, they could be like, oh, I could go trade in some old stuff at like a game or whatever, or they could sell some stuff on eBay to like sell an old phone or whatever to raise some money for it.
They know how many relatives to whip round for. Can I have an early Christmas present?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Get down to fucking payday loans, shop in it, get 200% interest on 300 quid. There you go. That's.
Please don't do that.
Really don't do that.
But it's. I know what you mean, Liam. I could see it going both ways. To be honest, I can see them just dropping that fucking pre-order thing right now for the reasons that Jake was saying, that it was.
Yeah.
That's what makes sense to me as a fucking, cold-blooded, how do you make the most money, and fuck whoever you leave behind kind of thing. Is that that's what they would do? They would probably want to like gazump Microsoft a little bit, and also hit that thing at its peak, like that, when everyone is really excited. Everyone's just, how many people would watch that, just theoretically, would watch that and go, I'm going to pre-order it right now, get a phone, pre-order it, like there and then, right as they're saying pre-orders are live. That's how they would get.
I mean, I would do that for sure. But
I would do that. I would do that, and it's like a maximum kind of damage way of doing it, isn't it? That's how you get the most, when all the eyes are on you. That's how you'd make it happen. But I can see.
And you've got like another thing about doing that is because you're going to get all these impulse buyers. Like on like the coverage statistical side, it's great for the numbers guys as well. They're going to be like, we've seen like an unprecedented spike of pre-orders over the last 24 hours, and then it'll be since like it's on the back end side of it. It's like so appealing, like. To report to people about the numbers, like I work quite a lot in that world, and it's like it really is about stuff like that, I think. But I think that Xbox has got such a cool proposition for like the different tiers of people, that like Liam was just saying about people's budgets. Like the 1S is like, fucking the Series S, fuck off.
I did that.
Exactly. They should start naming them more like after soft drinks, like the Xbox Zero, the Xbox Max. That would be easier to do. But I think that
Dr. Xbox.
Dr. Xbox. Yeah. But I've got to say, like, it's so accessible. Like, if there was loads of time to sit and think, and especially if you were younger and you had a family, as in like if your parents were the ones buying it for you and stuff. There's going to be what I'm trying to say. There's a lot of households negotiating this between them. It's going to be like
as in kids, and maybe one partner negotiating with the other partner. Have we got enough money to get this before Christmas? Because I really want it.
Yeah.
I mean, they really want it. I mean, the kids really want it. So what I'm saying is, like, given time to think, the Xbox is a way better deal than PlayStation. Like, really. And there's lots of different layers, and you can kind of, it's more modular. So the only way that you're going to get people to get the PlayStation 5 outright, unless you're a PlayStation fanboy, is to like give this like manufactured sense of urgency, I think. So I've got, I don't know, or they come out swinging with some like insane launch bundles, like Ratchet and Clank and something, and PlayStation 5 and this for $450. So like that's how I think that there are other ways they could do it. I can't believe this is such punditry, but I think if they have like a killer first party launch lineup that will come in at the price of a Series X, like $450 for 2 first party titles, a controller, $450, then we're cooking, I think, really, for the people who are a bit more on the fence. And I've heard over the past couple of years, like the strength of like the first party PlayStation lineup, because it's been pretty good,
Yeah, no, it definitely has, and I think that they must pin down what the games are going to be on day one as well in this thing on Wednesday. I feel like they've got to do that, not just say it's going to be a launch title. Like, tell me that's going to be a game I can get on the first day. And I don't know if Xbox has done that yet. And if they have, I certainly haven't. The message hasn't got through to me what the like launch titles are for Xbox.
Well, yeah, I think the big one. You're going to say it. I think
I was going to say Halo. It was meant to be Halo, wasn't it? And they delayed it because of the backlash against how it looks and all that.
I remember that, and I know that, but that what is it then? What are the Xbox launch?
The only ones that I know are out around the exact same time is Assassin's Creed Valhalla and
is it like Watch Dogs Legion and stuff?
Yeah, it's another Ubisoft game, and there's an EA thing. I just can't remember what it is.
Okay,
so there's an EA.
From the sounds of it, you're kind of the same as me then, because there is no like, here are the 5 games that will be Xbox One, fuck's sakes, Xbox Series X or S titles, on day one. And these are like the system sellers, even though they're not, even if it's like just like some racing games, some sports games, some platforming games, that just isn't happening, is it? So far, anyway.
Yeah, it seems to be more like, like I think the NBA came out this week or the week before or something like that. Anyway, and that's one of those where it's like, but you can get the enhanced edition. So it's like stockpiling games now. So you're already buying your launch title.
Yeah.
So, but it's not as clean as
it's not.
Buy it in a box.
Yeah.
In the box is the console, and then these games. Like that's not happening.
There's a couple current gen games that have said they're going to be like free upgrades, but I suppose that's when are those free upgrades going to be ready? Because like Borderlands just said it's going to be a free upgrade on PS5 and Series X. Avengers said the same. But it's like, are they going to be ready for launch, or is it going to be like you got to wait until like 2021 March for the update or whatever?
And also, a lot of people have already played them and are done with it. Surely, like I know that games aren't the same as they were in 2013 in the sense that there's the proportion of them that are like live services that you keep going back to. Well, is through the roof, isn't it? In comparison to what was, because in 2013, on a console, you basically had Destiny as the only one going. Oh, you can keep your character, and and you can keep the same character on the new system because we're kind of like a live service type thing. Well, now everyone's a fucking live service, so all of these games are having to do what was going on back then. But I think the one advantage that Sony still had, well, apart from they haven't shown their hand yet, so they can kind of adjust things if they need to based on what Xbox has done. On like a business side, like release date and prices and things like that.
Yeah.
But the one like clear advantage that they've got now is that they have that clarity of like, well, if you want to play this game, you have to get a PlayStation 5, which Xbox doesn't have, right? Xbox is an open environment where everything is backwards compatible and forwards compatible. Is that right? Like you can play there aren't as such Xbox Series S titles or Series X titles because you can play them on Xbox One X.
Yeah, I think they said that the first next gen Xbox stuff is like 2022.
And Sony hasn't done that. Sony will have games that you can only play on the PlayStation 5, right? So they have they will have genuine system sellers. So this is their like, okay, Xbox has got a cheap system, which is excellent value, great service. Like if you want to get that Game Pass, you're basically all you can eat diet, Netflix stuff.
That's the bundle, isn't it?
Whereas PlayStation have got the more traditional, like, here's the system, here are the 5 or 6 games that you can only play on that system in November or whatever. And they still have that clear, like, you need this console for that game thing. So on Wednesday, they really have to confirm what the launch lineup is to
what would be the dream ones? For me, it's like I would get Demon Souls or Ratchet and Clank, basically.
A dream based on what we know. So I'm not like going to be like The Witcher 4 and all this. Like just the dream based on the games that they've already announced.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'd say Miles Morales is maybe a safe bet for launch because they said holiday 2020 when they showed it off. So November, December, obviously holiday 2020. I don't think Ratchet and Clank's going to be a launch title. I think that'll come out in like March or whatever, because I think they said it's going to be a launch window title, but then how long is a launch window? Is it like 6 months or whatever? So I think that'll be more like next
probably
year.
until the next tax year.
Yeah. So I think Ratchet and Clank is probably not going to make it for launch. Gran Turismo might be a launch game. They usually like having a good racing game for a launch title.
Yeah.
That Returnal game, I think that might be out on launch because Housemarque, the people who developed that game, they had Resogun as a launch title for PS4 when that came out.
That would be nice. Actually,
I really wish that wasn't called Returnal.
Yeah, I'm still not sold on the name, but I will play it because of the pedigree of the studio. They've not made a bad game yet, if you ask me.
I don't like the word. It sounds a bit like the solution to a prolapse. Yeah.
There's only one person in the whole games industry who could get away with the word Returnal.
Is it Hideo
Kojima?
Yeah, it is. I would. Yeah, exactly. If Death Stranding 2 was called Death Stranding Returnal, I'd be like, you'd be like, oh, well, of course it is. Like, what else are you going to call it? Like, that's. So I don't know. Returnal, I hope it's got great reviews.
But then other than that, I think it'll just be the usual like bunch of Ubisoft will have 2 or 3 games ready to go. EA will probably have Apex or something maybe ready to go on it. I don't know, but I can't think what else.
One thing I just wanted to say was like when I bought the One S for my sister-in-law last year, the bundle that was for that was Sea of Thieves, Fortnite, and some V-Bucks, and Game Pass. So, like, what I'm saying is, like, they do bundle in like 3 games. I don't know if it's just because Fortnite is like going to get the kids' eyes on the shelf, whereas Apex wouldn't. But I think we've probably overlooked one of the many servicey shooter games. Whereas whether that's the Outriders or whatever, that Square Enix title, or Godfall, but there's going to be something like that, right? Because I think Destiny did pretty well. Like, I got a PS4 because of Destiny.
I'm gonna keep playing. I can't wait for the next Destiny update because it's going to be. It's pretty. This for me is Bungie kind of really becoming independent because they're just fucking chopping a game up, getting rid of stuff that they're not happy with, getting planets out of there, putting stuff back in from Destiny 1, and that's very exciting to me. And I haven't bought the all of the expansions and stuff for Destiny 2. I bought some, but not the last one. I haven't got Shadowkeep, and so I'm looking forward to getting on Destiny 2 on the PS5 and it looking a bit nicer, a bit crisper and stuff. I'm looking forward to The Witcher 3 on PS5 because I'm playing through it now, and I've put that on hold. I've like stopped my playthrough, and I'm not going to start again, but I'm just going to carry on when the PS5 comes back and go through all the DLC. And hopefully that'll look nice and stuff, and maybe even like something like No Man's Sky as well. I'm looking forward to.
Honest to God, I was just thinking that. Do you want to know why? Let me just say dead quick. I watched like a documentary. I use that term very fucking lightly, right? Especially around Mike.
Excellent fucking body language there, mate. That was beautiful.
Yeah, right. So what I was just thinking, I was just daydreaming about like it's going to be game of the generation soon. And I think one thing that we just kept mentioning, like Destiny was really important, I think, this generation. Like, and I don't use the word important often, like, but it's a really important game. Like, it changed a lot. Like, it really made the whole thing. And I watch a bit of dev diaries and stuff like that. Like, but everyone's kind of doing it these days, and it's kind of boring. But I watched like Internet Historian, like people who listen will probably know him. Some people will anyway. He did like a No Man's Sky video, and it was like from the side of the fans, from the side of the developers. And it was really fucking well presented, a bit memey, but very well presented. And I would love to see that like journey for Destiny from Destiny 1 and the 10-year plan to Destiny 2, to this, to Activision, to Bungie, to this independence, transcendence. Like, I would watch like a 40-minute, hour-long thing about what happened, and I'm following along all the beats, going, oh yeah, I remember that. So it's really interesting. But then I was just sort of thinking about No Man's Sky, and then you said it. Isn't that weird? But
No, it's No Man's Sky is definitely one where I've dipped in and out loads, and I haven't ever given it like the full fucking shake that I gave it the very first time it came out, and perhaps if Hello Games do give it a big like fucking performance resolution boost, like draw distances and ISO and things, and it's a game that lives on that vista and the So I could definitely do with a big like No Man's Sky update, but those two I'm looking forward to as like launch experiences. But with the PlayStation 4, it had like my dad got a PlayStation 4 before I got it, and he was playing. I think like was it Killzone or it might have been Infamous or something. So it was a few months after the PS4 came out, and he's playing Infamous, and it was like it just looked unlike anything like I had really seen on PS3 because of the neon and the like. It was like a dark. It was kind of like HDR vibes before HDR, really, and it was a dark kind of game. But you had this really like these brightly colored powers and the neon signs and stuff, and it was just like a good tech showcase of which was also like a fun game with like a nice kind of progression system, and and I was sold on it on that like to a great degree, really, and I thought, fuck, that looks really good. That feels like a next gen game. I think I'll get a PS4, and I want that, and I've kind of seen that in Ratchet and Clank, but only because that's what they've been really putting in our face. So to be honest, I'd like to see something else. I'd like to see another kind of Ratchet and Clank type, something along those lines, where it does feel like I need a next gen system to make this game work. Which with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which I will get and will play, and I'm looking forward to. Well, I could play that on a PS4, couldn't I? So
The Shadow War continues.
Right. Listen, if
that's the war table this week.
If you want to know what we're talking about, just Google PS5 Shadow War, and
I'm not afraid to say it. It was T3.com who made an article. It was pretty much saying, Xbox have like buckled under Sony's smoke bomb pressure.
Yeah.
And basically Sony have ratted out Xbox into cowardly showing off their prices. Sony win. Sony are the best. Look at it. Yeah. It's a joke. It's funny. It's a joke.
I was like really trying to. I was struggling to think if they were doing like a The Onion type article, or was it? Were they being genuine? No. Like I have no doubt. I have no doubt in my mind that there's of course going to be like corporate level things, that shenanigans that we don't even know about, and there's going to be. Yeah. On both sides, there's things that maybe we think are a win, but are actually a huge loss for some complicated reason involving investments or something. But the way it's presented as a Sony are winning the Shadow War, I thought it was pretty funny. Anyway, let's do some emails then. We've had a few emails in since we last recorded a podcast, which is only a few days ago, which is very encouraging. If you want to send us an email, the address is dearspecialmoves@gmail.com. That's dearspecialmoves@gmail.com. And ask us questions, tell us stories, tell us your opinions, tell us if you disagree with us, tell us if you really think there is a Shadow War. Maybe you're involved in the Shadow War. Please tell us all about it.
Anonymously.
Yeah, of course. I wouldn't expect
see you getting killed, man.
No, man, no. Okay, this one is from Wesley in London, who gives us a very extreme centrist Dear Gamers. Wesley says this. Wesley sees both sides of it. Wesley says, I'm old, so I can remember some absolute god-tier sports games from my youth. Games like Brian Lara's Cricket and Jonah Lomu Rugby on the Sega Mega Drive. There was just pure joy infused in those games, with attention to detail and secrets like tiny little wingers that were blazing fast. He's talking about rugby. It's hard to believe, but the FIFA games were actually good in the 90s. And even though I know jack shit about ice hockey, I played so many hours of NHL 98. So did I. I love the sports genre, and I wish we had something besides the god-awful EA franchises today. Do you guys have any sports games that spring to mind that you particularly loved and would like to see brought back? Cheers, Wesley. Thanks, Wesley.
Does it have to be a real sport? Because like the best sport game is Rocket League.
Yeah,
Rocket League is the best sports game. Surely, like there's no competition.
To be fair, it totally does like capture what he's talking about there, which is fun, and I definitely know what he means there. Where there were games, back in the day where they had their own like personality, and they were fun games. Now
I have one called Speedball. Yeah, do you ever play that, guys?
Yeah,
Speedball. No. It was an incredibly like simplistic. It was like a GTA 1, like bird's eye view, 2D. You guys ran like that game, and it was a contact sport. It was like football, but you threw the ball and caught it, and you're holding it with one hand, and you could punch with the other hand, from what I remember. And you had to throw it into the goal, right? Yeah. But it was like, I can't express how many, times biceps were flexed in the game. It was a very violent game, and your players could get injured, from what I remember, by getting beaten. So it was like a full contact, but it seems really cool because I think that was the first time, I played the game where it was like a game first, and then they built a sport around it, rather than there's a sport on the telly and they've had to build the game around that. So that felt really fun to me because I had all the PlayStation demo discs, and there was quite often like sports games that were on there. I remember there was one called like Yellow Card, where it was like the football game.
But I think it was Red Card Soccer or something, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, because Yellow Card isn't extremely.
Is it the one where you could do like flying kicks?
Yeah, you could drop kick the referee. Yeah, it was like a full contact football game, but I don't think you could get fouled. It was just like any means necessary. But it was like some really cool.
It was great as well. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So as you can see here, fan of full contact violent sports. But no, I thought that was really fun. And then there was so there was that, and then it was a lot of car games. But I don't know if that's still a thing. I don't even know if it's called Speedball. I want to say it's called something like Speedball 2000.
I know what you mean. I've definitely played it. Because I used to swap games a lot, and I got a lot of sports games doing that because they would have like a short life for me where I'd play them for about a week or two, literally, and be like, well, that was a lot of fun. I know what that is now. I'm going to get something else. And I'd swap out. And that was definitely one of them. I think it was Speedball. I was going to say Red Card Soccer. I was also going to say NFL Street and NFL Street 2.
Yeah, wicked. That game was wicked.
Great fun. And it was like a more compact version of NFL where you didn't have as many players, but you had it almost had this XCOM kind of modern XCOM vibe where you could customize your players and stuff, and they had different personalities and traits, and it's fucking loads of fun. Really, really good fun. But I think games now, even in an official EA franchise type game back in the 90s was probably more memorable and more fun, because now you've got to a point where there have been 25 other football games called FIFA since that one that you played in the 90s, if you know what I mean. So on Nintendo 64, there were football games and stuff, which I kept for years and played the same football game. But now it only lasts you 12 months, doesn't it? Because you get
it's weird for me because EA do make some really cool. Obviously, I love Skate, and people have been hounding EA for that. And I also really fucking love EA Fight Night. It is so good. And why haven't they done another one of them? Heavyweight boxing is currently probably the most exciting it's ever been, because when that was happening, it was this boring reign of the Klitschko's for ages and ages and ages. And now it's everyone would want to play. It's we could finally see Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury or whatever. And it's but every division of boxing is in a really exciting point at the moment. Lomachenko, you've got loads of players, loads of characters, loads of icons. If you ask me, I reckon at the moment boxing's got loads of characters that will be remembered for years for being interesting. So I just think there's a lot of exciting stuff they could do, and it's one of them where you could do a modern roster, and then you could have fighters legacy fighters like Muhammad Ali or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's really famous Sugar Ray and stuff. But then people would get it, and it's such a cash cow for fighting fans. they're just pissing about with UFC. I guess that's where the money is, really. But
maybe, but they're also. But I think I would get a boxing game, and I'm not huge on boxing, but I would probably get a boxing game, and it also lends itself really well to. Like, in FIFA, they're kind of doing this career story mode now where you play as a young player and, going to the football academy. The players going to football players going to football academies is like the most, there's just no fucking personality there. They're just like, there's just football. And that's all, and they're great at football and then they get picked or they don't, the end. Yeah. But in boxing, there's like, I think maybe... because it's like the violence of it and stuff, and I'm not, obviously there's fucking loads of working class like kids going into football academies and stuff, but there's something particularly like gritty about a boxing gym, isn't there? And it's just like a fucking way more natural story arc, which is why there's loads of boxing films.
And exactly, because especially because it's like the thing that you really, really see, which is really exciting, is like, especially in rematches, is that the losing fighter will always change up their trainer, and because it's one-on-one training and the trainer has got a unique style, it really affects. So like Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, the rematch, Tyson Fury was going for like the old Kronk style training, super aggressive, because he's got a new trainer, and it's like it's really interesting. So like there is that aspect of it, like the backroom aspect of it, because
it's more personal somehow, isn't it? Because it's not a team sport as well. It's like it's all about you, and if you lose, you literally go, "I want to fight you again," because it's like there's a real personal grudge thing there.
That's exactly it, and I think that like when Fight Night was on, like that was what would happen. Like you'd be losing against people because you'd be running out of steam like by the fourth round. So then when you went to your gym with your character, you'd do more cardio or whatever. But there's all sorts of exciting things they could do. They could do it like Football Manager, but you were a coach, and they could have machine learning and have the AI fight. Like there's so many things that they could do with this stupid like EA technology that they could do, but they just haven't. It's like that would be my dream game at the moment. It's a new Fight Night, because they could do so much with it, and it's like it's a golden age of boxing, really. So please EA. I got Skate 4 now, so I want this.
Liam, you've been pretty quiet in this sports section. Have you got anything to say?
Like I don't really play many sports games. I like racing games, if you count them as sport. But I will say the one sport game I have fond memories of, Mario Golf on the Game Boy Color, because it was basically an RPG. Like you competed in tournaments, you had stats, you leveled up, you choose equipment and everything. And Nintendo haven't really touched that for a long time. It's sort of being served with do you remember Golf Story on the Switch?
Yeah.
That is like sort of a spiritual successor to what the old Mario Golf games used to do on the Game Boy. So yeah, bring back Mario Golf, because it was just an RPG about golf.
That was a great email. Thanks, Wesley. Keep them coming, mate. So let's do another one from this one's from Alan Campbell, who is a teacher in Taiwan. Alan Campbell's also a rebel. He says, "Hey gamers, when I first got my PlayStation 4, the game that was included with it was Bloodborne. I played it for a couple of hours, but finding it too punishing, I went out and bought The Witcher 3 and never looked back. Recently, though, my work schedule has gotten lighter. I've heard you three preach for years about the wonders of From Software games, so I decided to give it another go, and I fucking love it. I'm not generally into punishing difficult games because I kind of suck, but there is something so rewarding and satisfying about Bloodborne. I just beat Father Gascoigne, and I can't wait to die some more. I may even give the Souls game a try next. So congratulations, you won another convert, Alan Campbell."
Was on a bitter. Congratulations, you win again.
You've done it again.
Get ready to die a lot more, because the next boss is the one. It's the one.
Yeah.
If you look at the trophies, you can see the trophies very quickly drop off after the next boss, because some people just couldn't beat it.
Father Gascoigne's now here's where the real game begins point, isn't it?
And then Bloodstar Beast is like the one. Like to me anyway, I fucking hate that.
Yeah. I was stuck. I was stuck on Bloodstar Beast for ages, but it feels like when I did that was probably the moment where I really started thinking, this is fucking. What else is what's coming next? This was like, I don't want to spoil what it is because I don't want to describe what it is, but just the first time you see it and the first time it comes at you, and you're like, what am I meant to do about this? And it's just and the more you read and the more you kind of you explore and maybe you leave it for a little while and the whole fucking I'm getting all excited again. Yeah,
it's just the only thing to say though. If you're listening, there's going to be a part. I think the best part of any of these games is where you are getting bullied and you're just somehow scraping by. Yeah. But then it might be after beating a certain boss, or it might be after like getting through a part that you knew was challenging, but you didn't die. At one point, the game does a complete 180 where you become the problem and everyone is in there. And you are making everyone suffer. When that happens, that is like a really cool change in the game because you're running back to places that were a problem earlier and just mopping people up, and like you're constantly putting your stats into what is working for you. And when it all clicks, it is like the most satisfying click. So good luck. And if you are going to play a Souls game, you're probably best to start at 1. To be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you're probably best to start.
Yeah, play them in order. Yeah, nice one. That's great. I think it kind of gets in your head, Bloodborne as well. It got in my head anyway, and it just kind of I was dreaming about it and stuff for ages afterwards.
Especially if you don't know about it. I wonder, especially when it was kind of new out. I mean, it's been 5 years now, just over 5 years, and I wonder if that's going to be enhanced because that'll be good to replay on PS5. I think.
Oh, I would do that. Sekiro as well. That's another treat. Do that.
I'm ready for that. That's 2 weeks, and then there's a big update. So I'm going to go in again. I think. But it's I can't remember what they're not adding much, but it's just an excuse. I think you can change how your character looks now. You can fashion souls, and there's some new stuff. I think there's new modes.
Yeah.
What would you recommend? What would you recommend Alan does next though?
I would do Sekiro. I would do Sekiro. I actually think Sekiro is fucking amazing. It might be my favorite one. I've played it loads now. I think I've done it about 8 times because it's the shortest one. And to me, when it clicks, it's the easiest one because it's too simple. It's just you either block or you press and circle or whatever. That's all it is. But I think the more you play the Souls games, the more bad habits you'll get for Sekiro. So it's better and Sekiro will sharpen you up so much that when you go back to Dark Souls, you're going to be like shit hot. But I would do Sekiro first just because otherwise you're going off the back of a trilogy of games that's going to teach you about rolling and you don't want to be doing no rolling. So, you know what I mean?
I think that could have the adverse effect of if you play Sekiro, then go to Dark Souls, you're like, fuck, this game is slow.
It happens. It happened with Bloodborne anyway. I think that's the thing. And I because I thought Dark Souls 1 was really like stiff and clunky in comparison to Bloodborne. So yeah, with Sekiro, which has got this added like freedom of movement and the hook claw arm thing, and just don't have that in Dark Souls. You're a lot more like.
So I guess it's a pretty binary choice, isn't it? If you want to go faster, Sekiro. If you want to go meatier and slower, Souls.
Yeah,
isn't it?
If you want to hide behind a shield, go for Dark Souls. But play them all.
Yeah.
Okay. Should
we
do
the pray for Elden Ring?
Oh yeah. There we go. That's the fucking dream launch title, isn't it? That's what I want. But it's not going to be because we've got Demon Souls. That'll be great, actually. The idea of playing Demon Souls on day one on a PS5 that's fucking pretty.
That's
good,
the one.
That would be great.
That's the dream. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's do the new games for this week. So the week starting the 14th of September. There's a few things. There's a few things coming out. On the 15th, which is the Tuesday, we've got Spelunky 2 on the PS4.
Fuck. I didn't even know that was out then. Have you played the first one?
I played it.
This is sick. This game, this is like Binding of Isaac level. It's endless. If I could play 5 games ever, Spelunky 1 would probably be in there because it's just so. It's not my favorite. Yeah, it's not my favorite, but it's you don't get bored of it. Right. To me, it's. I didn't know this was out.
Well,
that's good.
That's happening. So it's a platformer, roguelike type thing. check that out. And you got Spelunky 1 if you want to get in the mood for it before it comes out. Fight Crab is out on a Nintendo Switch.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen this game?
Yeah.
It looks amazing.
Yeah.
It's
I think it's already it's out somewhere else.
It's out in Japan, yeah. And it's a very low budget looking game. And the developers have made the game before it called Ace of Seafood, where you play as like a tuna and stuff, but you can mount laser cannons on it. And this game is it's a one-on-one fighting game with crabs, but they all have melee weapons and they can like parry each other. And it's like got proper like dodgy physics like Octodad, but it's just like crabs swinging hammers and swords at each other and like lightsabers and whatever else you can think of. It looks mad. But it looks like it'll be a good laugh.
Okay, that's Fight Crab. Bullets Per Minute is out on PC. It's a FPS.
Isn't this how Liam determines whether or not he likes an indie game?
What, bullets per minute?
How many bullets per minute on the screen? Yeah.
It's like, so what I know about this is it is an indie game, and it's like a dungeon-based FPS. But it looks like it's got the like Crypt of the Necrodancer rhythm thing to it, where you do more damage.
Oh, BPM.
Like, yeah, like actual BPM, where you match up your actions, sync them with the rhythm and the beat of the song, and you get like more points and do better damage and stuff like that. I think that's what it is. I've heard like
that sounds totally right.
BPM is in the title.
BPM, right? Yeah, okay.
And
that'll be right.
There's a couple people I've seen on Twitter like saying how much they love this game, but like I don't really know much about it apart from that.
In my head, I'm imagining something like like Super Hot, because that's like time-based shooting movement and stuff like that. So I guess it'd be that, but on like some sort of grid thing. Worth looking at, I guess.
On Thursday, it's Welcome to Elk, which is out on PC and Xbox One. That's an adventure game.
Sounds cute.
A company called Triple Topping. I don't know anything about this. Have you guys seen or heard of this?
Nope.
No, but I've just Googled it and it looks nice. It's a biographical adventure set on an island, guys, I can assure you, like no other. But every character has a story to tell. From weird and wonderful to dark and desperate. But all the stories told on Elk are based on true stories. Ooh.
Are the characters animals by any chance?
They're actually they look like pretty janky. I don't know what it looks like, dude. Like, it looks like a Cartoon Network special.
Yeah.
But for audio listeners, sorry, I've just put my phone to the screen and we can see some flat pastel coloured Steven Universe fan art looking motherfuckers. So that's Welcome to Elk. Looks cool.
Yeah, I'm sure the developers would love to hear their work described in such terms. And then on Friday, the 18th of September, pretty busy day, you got Crysis Remastered, which is out on PC, PS4, and Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
The remaster of the famous FPS from Crytek, which was like the big PC benchmark game for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys played this?
The remastered one or the original?
Friend's house.
With the OG.
Yeah, I've played the original quite a few times, so I really like it, the original.
It's tough, I think. I played it years later. I played it about three years ago, something like that. And I thought it was fucking hard for a first-person shooter. Like, you've got to know you've kind of got suits, abilities built into the suit that you wear, which makes you like tougher or faster or invisible. And there's it's the kind of open-ended tropical island Far Cry vibe to it. But it's like sci-fi military setting. And I just remember that the helicopters I just hated the helicopters in it.
Yeah.
I just remember hiding in a bush and a helicopter above me just shooting me.
And you were thinking, I'm not having fun.
I was thinking, I don't feel powerful. I'm just cowering in the rocks, trying to escape the Hellfire gunship that's above me.
That's funny.
But I'm sure the remaster's meant to be pretty good, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's meant to bring it up to date with loads of new graphical features. Like the PC version's got ray tracing in it, and weirdly enough, the PS4 Pro and Xbox One X versions have a version of ray tracing in it on console, which is like software based instead of like running off actual hardware. But yeah, it's
the
like
first time that's happened.
Yeah, it's the first console game with ray tracing, and because like Crytek have got some technology where they can do ray tracing without actually having to have hardware on a graphics card that can do ray tracing. They can do it all just on a regular graphics card. Okay, it hits your performance like a truck, but they can do it.
Yeah, ray tracing. Yeah, I kind of feels like.
What's that about?
Do you remember NVIDIA physics?
Yes, I do.
Exactly. A memory, distant memory, where it was like a big fucking Batman Arkham was one of the big ones where you'd like side-by-side comparison videos of Batman crashing through a window with physics and without physics to show you the difference. And stuff.
Look at his cape flowing in the wind.
Yeah. Geralt's hair.
Oh, Hairworks.
NVIDIA Hairworks.
Do you remember like when the Tomb Raider reboot came out? On PC, the big selling point, they're like, if you've got an AMD graphics card, you can have like tress effects or whatever it was called, and it was just for the hair, and it like absolutely destroyed performance, but the hair looked real.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to draw a comparison here, but
just keep an eye on it, guys. All right.
How I feel. That's just how I feel. I'm not. You know, it looks nice and everything, but
ray tracing like makes lighting look a lot better is the big thing with that. So I can see that actually being a useful feature, unlike Hairworks, which...
Have you seen Minecraft with ray tracing?
Yeah, it looks good.
It looks sick. Like, Minecraft looks lit.
I think it's more like the marketing of the technology that I'm just like, well, where have I seen that before? Do you know what I mean? It's just
like, I guess the easy thing is, does it make Minecraft look good? Yes. Okay. You know what I mean? Minecraft with realistic hair still looks shit, doesn't it? You see what I'm saying?
I think
so. Use that. It's my handy tip.
The best like ray tracing showcase at the minute is Control. I think on the PC version of Control. If you look at that with like the on and off, it actually looks night and day difference. Like how good it looks.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, I'll check that out. Super Mario 3D All Stars, certainly not a game that's going to have ray tracing on Nintendo Switch. This, I mean, I'm excited for this. I am excited for this. So Super Mario 3D All Stars was kind of announced, days ago, really, a few days ago. It feels like, and it was it's 3 Mario titles: Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and what's the other one? Galaxy.
But not Galaxy 2 for some reason.
Right.
Never played Galaxy.
No, me neither. So I'm really looking forward to this. I'm a little bit. Is Mario 64? It's not widescreen, is it?
No, it's they've like sharpened up some of the textures and they've bumped the resolution up, but it's still 4:3 with a border around it.
You have this nice little effect going on for anyone watching. It's going to be in a box, but that's the one thing I wish it was widescreen, but
we're all there for sunshine, boys, isn't it? So do you know what I mean? Just let the power of flood go. Actually, that sounds horrible. But I've got to say, like we were very important players in the Shadow War, so we had to take counsel at the beginning of this podcast. But if I was to talk about the games I've been playing this week, it's been Super Mario All Stars, which I guess was kind of like the supplementary drop Nintendo put alongside this announcement, where you could play the classic Marios if you've got Nintendo Switch Online. So I've been getting ready for this, and I also played Donkey Kong Country. But I love this, and I've got these really like fond memories of Mario Sunshine. Like I want to go back and finish it and get all of the shines or whatever the hell they're called, and I can't wait to hear the Dolphino Plaza music. And I never played Galaxy, but you can count on your boy Mario, can't you? Like, he doesn't miss. Whether he's playing golf or otherwise.
Some people are a bit miffed about this collection because of like it just looks like a straight port rather than like I think it's like people are saying Mario Galaxy just doesn't even look any different really to what it does on the Wii, and just like a lot of people are a bit pissed about having to pay a full fat $60 for it when it's just like a straight collection that is only available for a limited time.
Well, yeah, so that's the big difference for people who aren't like kind of up to speed on everything. And seems like a bit of a weird thing. So the game is only available until like the 31st of March or whatever the hell it is.
Yep.
But like, yeah, you got like 6 months to buy it, or else you'll never buy it again.
Yeah.
So of course people are going to buy this physical in hopes of eBaying it in 10 years' time or something. But or you can buy it digitally. I assume they mean that you can play it forever if you buy it in that time.
Oh yeah,
but, like yeah, it just seems weird.
It's one of them where if you buy it physical, you'll have a physical copy forever. You buy it digital, you'll have a digital copy forever. But as soon as that like time has run out, that it's getting delisted from the eShop, and like I imagine any leftover copies will be recalled or whatever from like retailers.
Nintendo secretly pioneer things, and then not so secretly years after it catches on, and then it becomes a whole thing, Nintendo Direct, etc. But this is something odd, like making something that is, not an issue to have on this eShop forever, like a digital title that you have published and developed, make it limited edition for no good reason other than to like, basically what it is, in my opinion, it's to like increase sales before the new tax year, isn't it? Because this is going to be their 2021 profits, isn't it? Because April, that's when everything cuts off for them. So why else would they fucking do it? But make it exclusive.
I've seen some people speculate that this will be like you said, a limited edition, and then when that time has run out, they're gonna put the games on the eShop but separately, and then charge like 30 quid for them each or whatever.
Yeah, so that could be the case.
So it's like you've got this limited window to get the all-in-one package. I think it's got an extra couple features in it, like it's got a music player and concept art you can look at and shit like that. But then the most people I've seen just like speculating anyway have said it'll be they'll put them on the eShop later as separate releases that you have to buy at a higher cost.
Yeah.
Perhaps, and then the purpose of the bundle then is because it's this whole kind of thing about this is it's to celebrate 35 years of Mario. So maybe that's the thing, yeah. But it just seems odd, but also it's cool, I guess.
Well, yeah, it is a bit weird, but I always sort of think, well, they can do, if you're a company, you can do whatever the fuck you want, really, because you're just trying to make money, and then as someone shopping, as a customer, which everyone is, you don't have to buy it. You don't have to, this like language of, I have to spend 60 quid on it. Well, no, you don't. Just fucking don't, innit? If you've already played the games, and that's just to a certain degree. Anyway, I just if you're unhappy with it, do not buy it, and then they won't do it again, will they? They won't. They'll see that it wasn't as successful, and then they won't do it. They're only doing it because people will buy it. I'll buy it because I don't care and I want it, so I'm going to buy it.
Exactly. Yeah. Same. Yeah. Exactly the same. We're the problem.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a problem. I'm happy with it. I'm fine. I'm fine with it.
Yeah. No, I mean to the naysayers. The pro consumers.
Well, I'm an amateur consumer. So, all right. So anyway, this is another game where we're not going to have as much to say about. I've got a feeling. This is a WWE 2K Battlegrounds, which is out on PC, Nintendo Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and as Google brand ambassador Jake Kulkowski knows full well, the Google Stadia.
I got an email in my work account from somebody who said, "Listen, yeah. I got an email to my work account from somebody asking me if I really did get Google Stadia like for free as an ambassador. Did they pay me?" Somebody asked me. I'm not joking. So I don't know what that's about. Isn't that good?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it wasn't like someone was just bothering me. It was like another person. But isn't that funny that somebody watched the podcast and got confused at all this propaganda that I'm a Google Stadia ambassador?
Got confused with all this propaganda, he says.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So I'm Yeah, maybe I should just go for it and lean into it, innit? Ultima Must Die 3 is the best game of the year.
Jake's middle name is Alphabet.
Yeah, I'm a plant. I've been in here the whole time.
Think about that. Okay, so that was quite a good podcast, I think. If you're a patron, we'll have a Patreon bonus podcast in the next few days. We're going to just have a little cup of tea and record that right now and answer some Q&A questions that you guys have sent us, which are pretty good. Thanks everyone for listening and for watching. Remember to email us in dearspecialmoves@gmail.com if you want to send us an email and give us something to talk about and help us put the podcast together. Otherwise, see you in about a week when we'll know some PlayStation stuff, hopefully. Bye.
See you soon, guys.